All right, welcome again to another episode of Mommy and I with me, Uluwa Damilola. Today on the session, it's a Zoom session, and we'll be talking on sexual orientation. And I'm sure that you would agree with me that at this present time, every parent needs to, inform their children and for every child to be aware of sexual orientation. The topic is not something that we can shy away from as a parent. So we need to do it now, or this is just the time. And to help with this topic, I would not be doing it, handling the topic. I have with me Mrs. Anyanwu Ogochukwu. I hope I said that well, ma. Yes.
Yes.
Mrs. Ogochukwu is a professional counselor who is passionate about young people and family life as well. She loves to empower young people to identify and maximize their God-given potential. Her calling is to set the family's model the right value qualities, to see that family models the right values and qualities which will reflect back to the larger society, and which is what we currently need at the moment. She worked as a school counselor in both elementary and high school, and she offers expertise in career and academic counseling as well, and provides support. She has over 14 years of professional experience in the field of counseling and education. Please welcome with me Mrs. Ogochukwu Anyanwu. Good morning, ma.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Good to have you on the show this morning. It's good to have you on the show this morning. Yes, ma. So today we're talking about.
To be here. Thank you.
Yes, ma. So today we're talking about sexual orientation. And first of all, I'd like to ask you, what is sexual orientation? What exactly do we need to know that it is about sexual orientation?
Okay. Thank you so much for the invite. I'm glad to be here. So when you talk about sexual orientation, you're talking about who someone is attracted to.
Yeah.
Okay. It's about an attraction to a certain gender, or what someone is attracted to romantically. Let me use that word.
Okay.
So that's what sexual orientation is: who someone is attracted to or wants to have a relationship with.
Okay.
Most times it has to do with romance or emotions,
Okay, now that you've told us what sexual orientation is, I would like to also know when is the right time for parents to teach or to educate their children on sexual orientation?
Okay, let me say something about sexual identity first. Then
Okay,
I will now say something. I will now answer your question. Sexual identity is who you are. It's about who you are.
Okay, ma'am.
And growing up, that's what we know. You are a boy, you are a girl.
Yeah.
So that's your identity, okay, based on your biological wiring and all that. So one can easily say, oh, I'm a boy or I'm a girl. But social orientation has to now do with who someone is attracted to. It might be same sex or opposite sex in our world today. And it's not something we need to shy away from, because the way the world is going, you have to start at a very tender age to begin to enlighten your children about sexual orientation.
Yes.
And thank God in our part of the world, we still have the right to do it. There are certain countries where you can't even do that anymore. Okay, so at birth, when they bring out the baby, the first thing the doctor will say is, "Madam, see your baby, the baby boy." So, or is a baby girl. So that identity starts from, birth. But at some point, because of the way the world is, every parent will begin to teach their children, even at a very tender age, as young as 18 months. You're bathing your baby, you're mentioning the parts of your baby's body to, let them learn their parts of their body at that tender age. You're bathing your child, you're saying your nose, your ears, because they're all parts of the body.
Yeah.
But most times what we do is we shy away from mentioning the private area and we just sometimes we even give it some funny names, you know. So, but at that 18 months, there's need for us to start teaching our children about sexual orientation. A very tender age.
All right. Also, aside that, how do people know their sexual orientation? So if, for example, maybe there are some people that their parents did not, let them know or teach them, I mean, for a teenager or adolescent stage, how do they begin to identify their sexual orientation?
Okay, so I'll still go back to childhood stage. You know, sometimes the way children behave, sometimes the society put a label on them. Let me use example. Let me give you an example. A child walks a certain way and say, this boy walks like a girl. You have already started selling something. Call it ideation. You have started selling idea to that child's mind. So you're saying, this boy, see your hair, you have full hair like a girl. You have already started selling something. Or you buy a pink related clothes or an item for a baby boy, and someone is saying, where did you
It's
is
for a
it a girl? Where did
girl.
you buy this color?
Yeah.
So, and I can't remember anywhere in the world where they say pink is for girls and blue is for. It's still society that put those labels.
Yes.
And so society has a way of passing that message across to these young ones as they are growing up. So somehow they grow up into that feeling that anything that has to do with this is
Pink
for a boy and anything that has to do with for girls. And so when they get to teenage stage, some of them are now becoming more aware of who they are and who they are attracted to. And again, sometimes personal experience also determine who they are attracted to. I work with young people a lot. I've heard I don't even want any boy around me. Not as if they are attracted to girls, but because of what they have witnessed or what they saw. No, 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 no. I don't want to have anything to do with any boy. At, at that tender age. So because of the things happening in their environment and because of some of their experiences and what the society is also selling out there. In our world today, these young ones are exposed to social media or the internet. Let me use internet. So they are exposed to the internet, they watch a lot of movies. In fact, and some parents are not even in control of what their children are exposed to.
Absolutely.
So you see them getting all these things from here and there. And even at home, you're trying to teach the right thing, but who is speaking louder, your voice or the social media? And whichever one that is speaking louder, that's the one they will hear. So sometimes it's based on their experience or what they heard from people or watched in a movie that makes them to begin to feel, think it's cool to like someone like this or like that.
Why is it important for parents to start, sexual orientation and identification for their children early? Why is it important?
Okay, so it's good to start early because everything we are trying to teach the children should start from home. I've heard some parents say, I pay school fees, so school should do. It has to start from home. That's where the whole education starts. Though it could be in an informal way. So it's important for parents to start at home to say it. Then when the children get to school, the school can add to it. Because what is going on out there? Let me give you example. I heard a story of a young girl who traveled for masters or for a degree outside the country, and later introduced another girl to her parents as her partner. And she said something, Mom, you've always told me to stay away from boys.
Wow.
And all my life, I've always been surrounded with girls. So I think I like girls. So see how so parents, it's not enough for parents to teach it at home. It's also enough for parents to be equipped to know the right information to give.
To teach.
And also age appropriate content is also necessary. So what some people do is that they, like when I was much younger, my grandma told me when I started menstruating, he said, if a man touches you, you will get pregnant. What's the
We were
meaning of
all
that?
told.
If a man touches you, you will get pregnant. You know, that kind of thing. So the information must be accurate. You must pass the right information to them. I don't want to see you around anybody. I don't want to see, is that the information? No. So age appropriate content and the right information should be taught by parents to their children at every stage. Like when I said 18 months, you start teaching from 18 months. As they grow, you change the message, you upskill. You know, there are certain things you can't teach a child at
Yes,
3 years.
definitely.
But when you get to 5, 6, you change it, you update. When they get to 8, 9, about to enter high school, the message will keep updating the message. So parents must be equipped first before they can do that job well.
So say for example, I have a teenager who is already understanding parts of her body, their blooming and all of that. How would you advise me? What tips would you give me on how to sexually orient my teenager at that stage?
Okay. A teenager who is already aware of their sexuality, who is already seeing the changes happening in their
Yeah.
body. Okay. Now, when before that child even starts noticing all that, the child's supposed to have been, educated.
Educated, yeah.
But let's assume the child hasn't been. You start by, sitting that child down. So first of all, find out what the child know already, because they hear from their schoolmates, their peers out there. So find out what the child knows already about what is happening, about the puberty or whatever that is happening to him. That's the puberty stage. So find out what the child knows already. If there are wrong notions, you begin to change
them.
The notions. I call it softwares. If wrong softwares have been installed, you begin by uninstalling the wrong softwares, then now teach the child what is happening to him or her. Yes. Explain to the child the essence of what is happening, the changes happening. If some changes haven't happened, let the child know that they will still happen. And the essence of this is because of your body is being groomed, preparing you for adulthood. And because you're a girl or because you're a boy, the reason why you're noticing these changes is because God is preparing you for to be a mother in the future. And so when you menstruate, it means you have started your cycle. You explain everything about the cycle. For a girl now, you explain about the cycle, about the breast coming up and the use. Then for the boys, you also explain to them about the changes happening in their body. Then link everything to the future, what their body is preparing them for. And again, it depends on where the level where the child is per time. But we can't just stop talking about this. We'll keep, teaching them at every point in time. If any new concept is trending out there, if you're a parent and you have a teenager, bring your teenager, once they are home, create a conversation around it and find out what they know. So if there is need to quickly uninstall, do that and install a new one. So it's a continuous process. It's not something one-off that you say, okay, it's only when they're on holiday, we'll sit down and talk. When they school, it should be something ongoing.
Okay, so another instance. So say I have myself, for example, you gave the example of the lady who told her parents that she likes a girl. So in that instance now, we know God created Adam and Eve. He didn't make man and man. He didn't make woman and woman. So say my child comes to me to say, I like girls, or says, Mommy, I think I like boys. How do you think as parents that can be handled?
Okay, so when such question, comes first, or you're having a conversation with your child and the child come up with such, you don't need to panic at all. Because once you panic, that child may not consider that conversation. In fact, the child may even change it and say, Mama, I was only joking. So the way you behave, let your physiology, your facial expression, let it not give you away. So first of all, calm down and hear more about it. Let the child tell you more. Ask the child, okay, can you tell me more about this liking a girl or liking a boy? Then hear from them, know where the thing is coming from. Then it's also an opportunity for you to explain how human beings are wired. These days, I encourage parents let the children know about having ovaries, about the biological makeup, how God made man. If you're a Christian, go back to the Bible, read Genesis 1, verse 27, how God made man, male and female. Explain to them if it's talk about the makeup, biological makeup of a boy or a male, and explain to them how God made it and why they are opposite and the intentions of God. Okay, so you must link it to the beginning, how it was intended to by God. Then, if there are, you find out where he's also learning that is it just a feeling or he watched something. You must at every point in time, every wrong software must be. Sorry, permit me for using software. Is a word we all can relate with. At every point in time, once you notice, something, you must be quick to look for a way to quickly address that issue. Then if parent feels she can't handle it alone, we have counselors out there. You can, get the child to see a counselor, a professional counselor. Okay. Liking a boy or girl, there are other ways teenagers can express, their emotions. I used to explain to parents, instead of letting children, telling children, I don't want to see you with a girl, or I don't want to see you with a boy, you kind of teach them how to socialize in, the right way. We'll start by teaching them friendship, what friendship is about. And we talk about personal space, how to protect your personal space. There are, several ways. There's nothing wrong. First of all, I used to tell my girls when they tell me about maybe liking a boy, I used to tell them your feelings are valid. There's nothing wrong with it. It shows that you're growing. But we'll now sit down and talk about, okay, now you like this boy, it's okay. You should also like people around you. Talk about friendship, bring friendship into it, and tell them how friendship should be, because they really don't know. They feel anybody that they like, the next thing should be they should date the person. That's the word they use. We are dating. They are not even dating. They don't even understand the meaning of dating, but what you will hear from them is we are dating. So we try to empower them to know the difference between friendship, liking someone, being a friend to someone, and thinking the other way, with someone. And again, when they talk about crushing, we quickly change the meaning, let them understand. And when you crush, how, crush is just a temporal feelings that doesn't last, quickly address that. Teach them how to socialize well. You can stand there and just a boy in your class without having any bias. Yes, it's something we have to be intentional, teach them, to get to. It's not easy because their moods, at that point they have mood swings and everything, the hormones is running in their body, some of them, and because that part of their brain has not finished developing, the one that helps them to, to judge matters have not really fully developed. So they want to make decisions based on how they feel at that point. So, but like what I keep saying this, teaching them, it's an ongoing process. We'll keep saying it. When I address young people, in school system, I always tell them, you can't get tired of hearing this, okay? It's for your own good. You can't just get tired. Don't say, oh, counselor, you're always saying this, you're always saying that. It's for your own good.
So thank you so very much, Ma. Okay, so I would like to know, in the course of you talking, answering the last question, you made mention of, so my child comes to me and says, hi, mommy, I like a boy, or you see your child frequently always having conversations with a particular boy. How will you undo that? Explain, like I would like an explanation, proper explanation on how a parent can handle that.
Okay, so if your child walks up to you to say, oh, mom, I like a boy, Remember the first thing I said, don't panic. That's not the time to shout. Just be as calm as possible and say, oh, really? Wow. Tell me more about it. And the child would start telling you, oh, it's a boy in my school and I just like him. He's cool. And he's smart. You say, oh, that's cool. So you like him. So when you say you like him, what exactly do you mean by liking him? Is it as a friend or as a schoolmate? So you're trying to help the child to define. So you want to understand what the child is thinking of by saying, I like a boy. So by the time that is clearly, done, then you can enlighten your child. Say, okay, it's good to like people, but at this point in time, because you are just 13 years or because you're just 14, you have a lot of schoolwork to deal with. So you bring in the benefits. Let the child know that this is the time to focus on schoolwork. I always ask the girls. There's a question I ask them sometimes when they talk about it. I ask, okay, you want to date the boy? Are you ready to be married? So when are you inviting him over to see your parents? When is he coming to pay your bride price? Sometimes when I say all those, they're like, no, man, that's not what we're talking about. I say, no, because they're telling me you're ready. I say, no, it's just a friend. I say, okay, so now you're talking. We'll have to look for a way to balance the message. But you need to get out what they mean by liking a boy. You need to ask questions, but don't. It's not the time to say, that's not why I sent you to that school. Oh, that's not why I. No. You have to face your study. Yeah, no, that's not what they want to hear. That's not what they want to hear. So engage in that conversation calmly. In fact, if possible, even share an experience. When we were in secondary school, we also like boys. So in fact, I saw some people even exchanging letters, but it got them into trouble. In fact, you need to see how they were punished in school. You need to see how they were punished in school, and like, we must be real. Let it come as a conversation, not that you will now sit down and say, hey, oh yeah, sit down, let's talk about this thing now. Our approach matters. Our approach matters.
What's your take on the role that the church and schools are playing on sexual orientation? Yes, do you think that they're doing enough by sexually orienting children and the school as well? Do you think they're playing this role well?
Okay. Some are doing it well, but we need to make our voice louder. Some churches are addressing it, while some churches are still shying away from it. Like, this is summer period, summer break. This is when some churches will now put a program. This period, some churches will put a program for young people to do that. But we shouldn't wait till summer holiday. It should be part of what we discuss during in the children's department. It should be part of our workbook. We should some topics on the school Sunday school manual should have it there. So we shouldn't wait till holiday period to gather them and teach it. It should be like I said, a continuous process. Then for the school, it should also be part of what they teach, because even aside some subjects they offer that talk about it, a school has to be intentional by creating maybe assembly, or maybe gender assembly where all the boys will be gathered maybe in a place and the girls in a place, or assembly where juniors will be educated separately from the seniors. It has to be a continuous process. It has to be. So what I recommend to schools is that they should create that platform whereby every week there should be an opportunity to talk about gender related issues, gender identity, orientation, or education. For churches, they shouldn't wait till when the children are on holiday. It should be part of the Sunday school manual. Some are trying, but we can do better. That's what I'm saying. We can do better. Because if we're not intentional, what they are selling out there via social media and some of these movies platform, where we have a lot of apps now where they watch movies. I don't want to mention any of them, but if you go there, they are very intentional about the movies they show. They show that. I watch movies too, I open a particular app and to watch a movie, before movie goes into 10, 20 minutes, you will see a particular scene selling something. And sometimes when I see it, I'm like, oh God, our young people are
Yes,
really in
always a
trouble. How
pop-up.
are we going
Yes.
to address? Yes. So we need to make sure we speak louder than what is speaking to them out there.
Mm, mm, mm.
So we can
All
do
right.
better.
So now let's talk about gender identity. What's the difference between gender identity and sexual orientations? For some people that mix up the two, what's the difference?
Okay. Sexual orientation has to do with who someone is attracted to,
Mm,
like who someone wants to, have a relationship with,
yes.
romantic relationship, okay, or emotionally connected to.
Mm,
But gender identity is who you are.
mm,
Is an identity based on your biological makeup. Is an identity who you are, male or female.
mm,
That's gender identity.
okay. So I'm talking now about gender identity. So how do you think the church can help?
Okay.
The parents are also doing their best, but how do you think that, the church
Okay.
and the school can help children identify that, what, for those who come out to say, okay, maybe I like a boy as a boy, I like a girl as a girl, or I don't even know who I like. How do you think we can reorient the children to understand how they were created?
Okay. So for me, church has a major role to play
Mm,
in this,
mm,
because coming from the scripture is something we know,
mm,
you know, from Genesis and
mm,
all through the scriptures.
mm,
So excuse me. So we have to go back to the manual.
mm.
I tell young people that you were created for a reason.
Yeah.
And for you to flourish, you go back to the manual the creator gave you. Because when you
Mm,
buy a device, it comes with a user manual. We
mm,
also have a user manual. So
mm,
let's go back to our user manual, which is the
mm,
Bible.
mm,
So getting back to the Bible, we'll have to teach the word of God. And that is why we have to start early.
mm.
I have a slogan I use: catch them young
Young.
for Christ.
Mm,
Catch them young for Christ. We
mm,
don't have to. Do you know that sometimes we feel our children are too young to pray or do certain things? But
mm,
meanwhile, I've also seen children that even at age 3, they pray like adults.
mm,
You see intentional parents in there. So I think the church needs to go back to let the children know you have a user manual,
mm,
which is the Bible. And how do we package it? Going back to Sunday school, like children's department manual, we have to intentionally put those things there. Let children get to know from the beginning. Then when they get into a particular stage and they begin to feel like that,
mm.
oh, I think I have feelings for someone of same sex, we'll have to also bring in that information,
Mm,
take them back to the beginning, how it all
mm,
started. This was not how God wired it.
mm,
Yes, some people through movies or something have sold out the idea to people, but it's
mm.
not the right. We have to actually call a
It's
spade.
paid.
But the situation whereby the person is not in our environment, because till this morning in Nigeria is still a no-no.
Yeah.
So, but if that person is now in a country or environment where they can't talk about it, and they say, oh, if you talk about it, then the person, the person will have to pray, like, let the Holy Spirit be the one to teach the children.
Yeah.
So, but that's it. That's it. Even when you are in Nigeria, you have to still teach it the right way,
Spirit.
because
Mm,
tomorrow they might go to school over there.
mm, mm,
So you ask Holy Spirit at every point in time.
mm,
That's why we need to keep speaking over our children, you know, keep building, covering over them in the spirit, so
mm.
that even when they are not with us, the presence of God
It's
will
abide
overshadow
with
them and
them.
won't let them
Mm,
do those things. Yes.
mm,
So church will have a big role to play. Schools too, because for But the ones in the elementary school, they so
Mm.
much believe in what the school is saying. That's why they can even come home and tell their parents, no, that was not what my teacher said.
Mm.
So school, we should also leverage on school, on what we have as schools to impact.
Mm.
So everything we do, we have to be intentional. I will give you an example. When we do school parties, what kind of music do we play to children for children
Mm.
to listen to? So
Mm.
sometimes even schools are confused.
Mm.
You play adult content for children.
Mm.
I've had issues with some people when they are planning for parties, and I ask, what kind of music is the
Is
DJ is going
this
to, or the DJ you're inviting going to play for the
mm.
children? Have you selected the playlist?
appropriate age
Sometimes if
appropriate
any
songs?
playlist feels
Mm.
popular, I said, do you know that certain songs that people play
Mm.
are for adults, not for children?
Mm. Mm.
And the last time I checked, you're not supposed to expose to children. You know, most schools we claim we have child protection policy, we have safeguarding, yet we are not even following it to the latter. Because there are certain songs, if you follow child protection policy, you know there are certain things you should expose children to.
Children too.
But during school parties, we play such songs and we feel as if it's nothing.
Mm.
So schools has to be more intentional, especially faith-based schools, because I've seen some schools that are not really because they are neither
Especially
here
for
or there, they
conventional
can
ones.
let
Mm.
but faith-based school, we have to really, really be intentional. And parents too. Before you
Mm.
send your child to any school, you must first of all find out the foundation of that school before you
Mm.
send your child. Find out their beliefs too before you send your child to. Because sometimes when parents just say, "Oh, okay, because my neighbor's children, or my friend's children are going there,
Mm.
let's also go there." No, you pray about before you sending your child to any school. You need to pray and get your conviction. Find out, is that the right place where my children, is that the right place where they can flourish both spiritually, because sometimes you can send them to a place, all the investments you made will just be messed up,
Mm.
all the being intentional, teaching them the word,
Yeah.
just a place by mixing up is, certain people in a particular environment, everything will just be
Mm.
messed up. So we have to really be intentional as parents, know the kind of school we are sending our children to. Then school owners should also know that when you own a school, you are already on an assignment and God will
Yes.
ask you question one. So
Mm.
you have to be intentional what you expose the children God has given, put under your
Mm.
care.
Mm.
You have to be intentional what you teach them
Mm. Mm.
and all that.
Okay. So
So they have
in
major roles in schools and churches.
thank you so very much. So in the course of you talking, you made mention of some factors already that can influence some of the beliefs or mindset of children to think that, this is how things should be. You made mention of music for school. You made mention of, parents, sometimes not being interested in, the policy of the schools and what kind of school that they're sending their children to. What other factors do you think can influence or determine what will make a child think that, okay, it's okay to like a boy, it's okay to identify myself as this particular gender or that?
Okay. Like I will go back to what they see out there.
Mm.
Let me go back home.
Mm.
At home, some of us give children phone,
Yes.
internet enabled phone or Android phone, without putting parental
Control.
guardians.
Mm.
Yeah, so if you don't put parental control, they can go online and watch whatsoever. And you know how the brain works. When you see certain things, somehow, an idea is being sold out. So the person will
Mm.
begin to, you know, once the person begins to nurse it, next thing, the feelings, we have emotions, we are human beings. The emotions will get to it and they will now tell you, I just feel like that. It's a feeling. I just feel
Mm.
that's, is a feeling. So I think as parents, having teenagers around us, we have to really, really be intentional of
Mm.
what they are exposed to. We don't have total control because
Definitely.
even on the streets, you're walking past on the streets, you're seeing what you're supposed to see, you're
Yes.
hearing what you're supposed to hear.
Mm.
Yes,
Mm.
but just make sure that the foundation is well laid. At
Mm.
every point in time, just keep building on it, just keep building on
Mm.
it.
Mm.
Then children feeling like that, sometimes a parent was worried about a case where he feels the child is behaving in a certain way without even knowing that the people that live with them in the house are the ones messing the children up. Like you have a domestic help who has an Android phone and watches anything and anything.
Yeah.
Okay. And when you are not around, they expose it to your children. They even tell your children, it's okay to like a boy. It's not a big deal. Like I practically tell parents, even before you hire a domestic help, what do you check out for? When you bring them in, do you do orientation for them? Do you tell them what your family stands for, what the language people should use in your home, the things that shouldn't be watched or should be watched? But sometimes we don't even do that. We just hire a domestic help, teach them how to use the gas, the microwave. We don't even teach the main thing that we should teach them. So somehow these people, adults around the lives of young people, have this influence on them. So, but I tell children there's nothing wrong in liking a boy or liking a girl, but I want to understand what kind of likeness is that. This is an opportunity to teach friendship. I don't know if I answered the question.
Yes, you
I
did.
don't know. Okay.
Yes, you did. So talking before we wrap up, I quickly want to also know, how do we help our children not discriminate from one gender to another? So in the process of, I'm listening, in the process of you saying, oh, because you're a girl, now that you're having your menstruation, you started your menstruation, you shouldn't, hang out with boys. You shouldn't even say hello, like our parents said, or that if a boy crosses over your leg, you're going to get pregnant. I don't know, and in that way, we are already indirectly trying to discriminate this gender to that gender. How can we not do that? How can we not discriminate in the process of us trying to help our children or teach them sexual orientation?
Okay, so we can achieve that by actually understanding, like I said, you can't give what you don't have. If you don't know the difference, you can't teach it. Okay, so like I said, there is nothing wrong in liking a boy. God made them male and female. That's the message. God created male and female. You explain to them, okay, see, let's assume it's happening at home. I said, okay, see your dad. Your dad is my husband. We met at so time. You can even tell them a little bit of your own story, so they will know that there's nothing wrong, male and female being friends, but but teaching the real thing so that the child will begin to. Let me tell you what I teach, especially teenagers: personal space, personal space. Understand that this person is a friend, is a boy, and you shouldn't be in certain places alone with a boy if you're a girl. Because some of them complain that just by talking to a boy, teachers are judging me. I say teachers are not judging you. You are the one that puts yourself up for such. Because if you're in the classroom doing your normal gist, nobody will frown at it. But you standing at a corner or in a
That
class
already gives
alone with
a
a boy
signal.
at a close range, you're already passing a message. And it means there's something. So what you need to do is learn how to manage space. I call it personal space. It's something is a topic on its own that you teach young people. Personal space, then friendship. Then I used to teach my boys too about their hands, your hands. It's not everything you see you want to touch and everything. And there's also about that praise forward is
Okay,
one a
please
book
forward.
for young people. Yes.
Okay.
When you trying to explain to the boys what about the part of the girl's body, the meaning of the part of the girl's body. He has to teach it so that they will understand what it's used for. It's not for you to go and be thinking of what to touch and because that is a wrong mindset. Some of them are actually innocent, but some people will just sell out an idea to them and they begin to run by it. Oh, okay. So whenever you are in a class, we mix children up in the school.
I'd like you to take that again, ma.
In the school, like school. You mix children up. We said in a school. Hear me?
Can
you hear me?
I couldn't hear what you said last.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Let me
I can.
come again.
Yes, very clear.
I said in a mixed school.
Yes, ma'am.
We allow children to sit together in the class.
Mm.
So when we allow them to sit in class, we are also very observant because of the space we have created in a classroom. So it is for we teach young people out your hand like a boy stretching out his hand to touch a girl's lap.
Man.
These are the things that are likely to happen.
Ma'am.
In a classroom where we have mixed children. Can you hear me?
No, it's breaking.
You know, while we have boys and girls in a school.
Yeah.
We are social beings. In the bid to pass a message across to young people, we should pass the right information.
Mm.
Okay. I don't know where the whole thing, but what I'm driving at is for us to create a wholesome child, you know, create the message, let the message be balanced. Let them understand how to relate with opposite sex, and let them understand in relating with opposite sex, maintain your personal space. And again, when the opposite sex is crossing boundaries, quickly address it and don't keep quiet. Okay? Some parents can't even have a conversation with their children anymore because of the way they will react. So some children may not be comfortable coming to their parents to say, Mom, I like a boy, because of the way the mother will shout or the father will scream. So most of them are not comfortable to talk about it. You know, but we should create a balanced message and let them know. I always validate their feelings. Whenever you tell me, oh, I like it, I say, oh, wow, that's the feeling. That's the feeling. It's okay. It's okay to feel that way. I first of all validate it because it's okay. They are human beings. They are growing. So we can't just live in denial and say, at your age, what are you feeling? No. You can't feel like that. No. If you understand how their body is wired or what is going on the inside of them, you will know that it should be what they should be going through. And it's now an opportunity for you to teach the right thing. It's an opportunity to plug in and pass the accurate information to them.
All right. Thank you so very much. Thank you so much, Ma. I think that would be all. But before we go, are there anything that you would like to talk about on the topic, sexual orientation, gender identity?
Okay, so I want to say this to parents. Parenting is a journey. And you must, first of all, have an objective. You know, if you want to do anything and you don't set a target, you may just be wasting your time and just be doing. But because parenting is a journey, you have to be intentional, decide what you want to do on your own journey.
Yeah.
And being intentional is the way to go. This is not the time to say, being intentional means, okay, God has given me these children and I will give accounts. I will do my best to raise them in the way of the Lord. But do you know the way of the Lord? That's the question. So I encourage parents, ask questions, attend workshops and training if you have to learn more, especially on how to deal with the kind of the children we are raising now, the Gen Zs and the Alpha generation. We need to be very intentional. And again, I tell parents, profile your child. First of all, understand how your child is wired, the personality, the love language. Make sure you are doing your own prayerfully. just you can't. There's no game in this game parenting. You have to be intentional and prayerfully do the right thing. If you're struggling, please get help. Attend workshops, share with people, get people that have trained their own children, that have bigger children, and ask them. They can share their stories with you, their success stories, and but sometimes we don't feel we need to get mentorship in parenting. You can get a mentor in parenting. You can have 3 children and 3 of them are wired differently.
Yeah. No, and we don't even have 3 of them cannot be the same.
No, they can't. So you have to be intentional. Understand the child God has given you, each and every one of them. Understand the uniqueness God has put in them and nurture them. And get help if you have to. Get help. I tell people sometimes there's no need covering up, saying, "Oh, if I say it now, they will feel, are you too?" No matter your level, please, if you feel there is any aspect you still need help, please get help. And again, sometimes you may have to let your children also get a mentor for your children, or allow them, attend programs or trainings or something where they can learn more and monitor what they do out there. I encourage families to have one day in a month or every 2 weeks where they will have family meeting. And family meeting is an opportunity for everybody to air their minds, say what's going on, talk about what is trending. We'll discuss it as a family and take a stand as a family. Oh, this is what is trending. So what did you hear? Someone will say, oh, in my school they said is this. Oh, in my office they said is that. Okay, so now being the Anyanwu's family, what's our stand?
That's when the family values and principles come in.
Yes, come in place. Because of our values, okay, so what's our stand? And because this thing is not in line with our value as a family, and since we said in our family chant that we are the light, okay, I think this is not for us. But you allow everybody to say their mind. Everybody must say it. So family meeting is a place, and family meeting shouldn't be a place where someone is reacting because they said, oh, you did this to me, you will not start reacting. No reaction. Everybody will be open, you discuss, and take a stand as a family. It's very important. It's very important. Some young people have confided in me a lot, and they say, my parents don't have my time. They come back. In fact, it's only Saturdays that I get to see them more, Saturdays and Sundays. I hear their heart cry. They desire more. They want to be close to parents. They want to have a conversation. But there's this gap. They can't get to do it. So I don't know why I'm talking on parenting, but it's a thing that we really need to focus on. I've also heard parents tell me, I don't even know where to start. This thing is just overwhelming. I thought I got it all put together. I don't know where this is coming from. So parents they also have their struggles too. So let's get help. Let's get mentorship. Let's learn more. Let's learn and keep learning.
All right, ma. Thank you so very much, ma. It's a privilege to have you today, and hopefully we'll have you again soon. Thank you so very much. Yes, our guest's name is Mrs. Anyanwu Ogochukwu. Like I said, she has 14 years professional experience in family life and as well as a counselor as well, professional counselor and a family life coach as well. Thank you again for honoring our invitation. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you so much, and keep up the good work. And I believe your program is entering families and touching lives. So keep it up. God bless you.
Amen. Thank you again, ma. Have a great day.
Bye. Thank you.